So I'm going to start off by showing you a short video.
The rules of ballet are very clear, and it's harsh.
There are some of the best schools in the world right here in New York City, and Joffrey is in the top 5 list in the country. Nobody is going to pay any money to see you hop around like a bunny.
If you get into Joffrey, I feel like it's an honor.
Today is the first day of auditions. You know better. And elbows?
This is a great opportunity.
This is your moment. Don't throw it away.
I am super nervous. There's so many people who are competing for this spot, like I think 130 some kids, and they're only accepting 10.
Now, after seeing this video, are you still convinced that ballet is not a sport? People often think that just because ballet doesn't involve throwing a ball around or tackling one another on a field, that it is not a sport. But I'm here to tell you today that ballet most definitely is a sport. But honestly, I can't blame you for thinking that. When you sit in the audience, you are mesmerized by the elegance and sleekness, the satin pink point shoes, the graceful pirouettes, and the exquisite tutus. You are oblivious to the extreme amounts of physical effort behind this choreographed performance and what is going on backstage. And let me tell you, the world behind the curtains is way more complex than you could have imagined. Your perception of what it takes to be a ballerina is completely different from mine. Ballerinas go through so much behind the scenes, both mentally and physically, but the minute they step onto the stage, they have to forget about everything and simply concentrate on being as graceful as they can be. Let's look at the definition of a sport to understand why ballet is a sport and why dancers are athletes. Sport: an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. Athlete: a person who is trained or skilled in exercise or sports requiring a physical strength, agility, or stamina. There are several requirements that people believe you need to have in order to be considered an athlete: endurance, strength, and speed. Ballerinas have all three. Endurance: ballerinas spend hours rehearsing and performing on point shoes, turning and leaping to the exact beat of the music, all the while ensuring they remain as elegant as possible. Strength: the power required to do a pirouette, which is multiple turns on point, is phenomenal, and even the best dancers struggle with it at times. Speed: this one's a given, moving from one side of the stage to another within seconds, and running backstage in the middle of a performance to appear on the other side only a few seconds later demands dancers to be quick on their feet. Ballet's beginnings trace right back to the Italian Renaissance in the 15th century. In these days, ballet was purely used to entertain the noble men and women in the court, as well as at special occasions such as weddings. However, over the years, ballet has transformed into a highly competitive sport, with many worldwide and internationally recognized competitions taking place every year, such as the Prix de Lausanne, which takes place in Switzerland annually. But the competition does not end here. The ballet industry is wrought with competitiveness amongst dancers when it comes to being selected for various roles and performances, and it can get very messy very quickly. The physical and mental strength that it takes to be a ballerina is something that should be acknowledged by everyone. The hours spent rehearsing and performing on point shoes without a break, putting your bodies through extreme amounts of pressure, stretching your body in ways it was not designed to be stretched in order to be as supple and as flexible as possible, and facing the ongoing comparisons to the people around you, often not feeling good enough. It can be a harrowing environment. Ballerinas are perfectionists, and they have been conditioned to be, always being told that they can do better, that they have to push harder. Dancers will spend hours on end putting their bodies through extreme amounts of strain and tiredness just to ensure that their performance is nothing short of perfect. I'm not saying that having discipline is a bad thing, but it is important that one that makes a distinction between discipline and destructive perfectionism. Destructive perfectionism is where one only focuses their attention on their failures and views their victories as inadequate. The smallest mistake, the smallest flaw, can cancel out all that you have worked so hard on achieving. In this highly competitive environment, where near impossible standards have been created for dancers to achieve, it is no surprise that most dancers have faced this or will experience this at least some point in their career. Diane Garagatelis, who has been teaching ballet since 1991, says, "It's mentally and physically challenging. Through life and through teaching those who do this, I've found them to be perfectionists. If they weren't perfectionists, there's no way they'd put their bodies through everything they have to do mentally and physically. You have to be on all the time and thinking all the time." Some people may not understand this, but just think about it. In a soccer match or a game of rugby, when a player gets injured, they collapse to the ground in agony and get carried off the field. But have you ever seen a ballerina do this? I have read countless articles and even seen it with my own eyes of ballerinas going on stage to perform with the most painful injuries: blisters, bleeding toes, torn tendons, and the list goes on. In a rehearsal just before a major performance, the lead in a Peter Pan show tore her Achilles tendon. If you have been a dancer before, you know how much work this tendon does and how difficult it is to dance when something does not feel right. Well, this girl went on to perform 4 shows that very weekend without the audience suspecting a thing. She was the lead after all, and she had been preparing for this moment for months. She could not let it all go to waste just for an Achilles tendon. A ballet dancer's mentality is, any sacrifice is worth making if it will bring them closer to the ballet ideal. Perception is our view of reality. It is how we interpret everything and everyone that surrounds us. You are going to believe what you see as being real and right, and will construct your perceptions based on these beliefs. That is what I'm trying to achieve here today, is to give you a look into the real world of ballet, which you probably have not seen or even considered before. If you watch dancers rehearsing for performance, I'm sure what you saw would come as quite a surprise. Audiences see ballerinas gliding gracefully across the stage from the comfort of their chairs in the auditorium and are lulled to believing a dancer's world is all about elegance and beauty and doing what comes naturally. But a glimpse into the rehearsal process would paint a different picture. Your pointe shoes have been on for hours. There is no beautiful music playing in the background, only a choreographer and teacher shouting harsh words at you, clapping aggressively to the beat of the music. Sometimes, you don't think your body can actually get you through one more run-through. Both ballet and sport are competitive fields that require extreme training and dedication. Yet as much as acknowledging ballet is a sport, it is also important that one recognizes it as an art form. Ballet is as physically demanding as any sport, yet dancers require more than physical skill alone. They are actors too. They have to show expression and creativity and have a natural affinity with the music. It is a combination of both physical strength and artistic talent that results in dancers delivering a mesmerizing performance. I'm telling you that the art of ballet is one of the most physically grueling endeavors a human can withstand. What dancers are required to do can change from slow and controlled movements the one second to vigorous and strenuous the next. Those who get it right experience the highest highs, but the feeling is fleeting. There's always the next time, the next show, the next audience, and you just have to push on. Thank you.